morning, good afternoon. Was everyone else feeling that music? Those lyrics were great. I never paid attention to that, but Disney and Pixar's got it made and really know how to pump up a room. Good morning. Hi, everyone. My name is Susie, and I'm the Director of Ventures here at SheEO. I use she, her pronouns and encourage you to introduce yourself with your pronouns to make it a more inclusive environment. Welcome to our final information call about SheEO venture applications. As you may or may not know, we do this once a year, and this is the last 48 hours of this year's, so 48, 72, one of those hours, last few days of our venture application process. So thank you all for being here. Before we get started, I'm just going to pass it off to Finn, who is our venture project manager here at HQ, to ground us off with a land acknowledgement. Over to you, Finn.
Hi, good morning, Kira. Like Susie said, I'm the venture project / program manager. So from the time that you apply to the time that you were selected, that's me. So I grew up from the traditional lands of the Bay Miwok people, whose land was stolen by Spanish missionaries that spread disease throughout the 1,700 person nation. And the Bay Miwoks are now part of the Better Bay Area Ohlone Nation. And as of about a month ago, I've moved and am calling in from the Tongva Nation, and which is LA, and I'm in the States right now. And I'm living in a home that's not mine and on land that's not mine. And something that I've been doing in order to familiarize myself, which is a privilege in itself, is what sort of organizations are around here that are working for land rights, and because LA is kind of a desert, also water rights. And I would encourage anyone on this call to go a step further than doing an acknowledgement of country, because I think that taking action beyond just recognizing is super important. So passing it back to Susie.
Thank you, Finn. Yes, thank you for showing us how to take action. All right, let's get started. So today we're going to go through this venture application process, which I assume, is the reason you're here. If not, join us anyways. You'll get a special treat because today is the last info session. You get to hear two ventures around their application experience and what it's like to be part of the SheEO community. We welcome any and all questions that arise in the chat. I may not see it, but Finn will for sure get to them, and then we'll have a chance at the end to ask any questions. And as a special bonus, at the end, I am hosting a Disney music theme office. If you can't tell, I like Disney and Pixar. For anyone who wants more one-on-one help, or if you have any questions, or if you want any accountability to finish your application. So, wanted to start us off and understanding a little bit more about SheEO and how SheEO is different. You will be hearing the words activator and venture used a lot, and we understand to most people, an activator doesn't mean very much. So I want to explain a little bit about why SheEO is different than any other community. An activator is someone, a woman or non-binary person who wants to activate their buying power, their network, their expertise, and their gifts to create an equitable and sustainable world. Activators pay an annual $1,100 or monthly $92 to put together a fund that is being loaned out to ventures. And that's you all on the call today. I was an activator for 5 years before I joined the team, and absolutely loved my experience of being in the community and supporting the ventures. It was a big part of it. So ventures, sorry, actually I have this on the next slide. I should show you this. Ventures are the entrepreneur who are creating a better world through their businesses by working on the world's to-do list, and they are being funded from this fund that is created by activators. They are selected by activator community, and they are majority female or non-binary owned businesses. So one of the really interesting part about SheEO is how we operate in a community. So I want to read the credo. So I'm going to be looking over my other screen. For those of you who are not familiar, to really give you a chance to understand how we do things here at SheEO. So at SheEO, we practice radical generosity, which we believe is the core to creating a new model and a better world. We have all that we need in this network to reach our potential. So you need something, ask. If you have something to give, please offer it. We are at all different stages and ages, and we come from different experiences. We are here with our sleeves rolled up, ready to help one another. This is our co-created environment built on trust. We are creating a space for women and non-binary folks to thrive on their own terms. We take our time and we consider our future. We celebrate and embody each other's voices. We amplify each other's voices, and we own our greatness. Are you in? And I invite you all to be in our community. So I want to talk a little bit more about why are we here, both from a CEO and also from the venture application. So we all know that there is a major funding gap for women, non-binary people, and how hard it is to, that 51% of the population is getting 2.2% of venture capital. And we have heard from many of our ventures and founders, I've been a founder and operator myself, that when you feel like you're not succeeding in the system, that you're getting rejected from the bank, from the venture capital, from investment, that you feel like you can feel like a failure. But really, we understand it's the system that's failing you. So we are here to create a new system. We understand that it is really hard to be an entrepreneur. It is a lot of work, and it's even harder for a woman, non-binary folk to be an entrepreneur for everything that else is going on. So come join the sisterhood, and where we are here with no strings attached, providing 0% financing at no cost, no equity, no collateral, no guarantee, all based on trust and relationships. So talking a little bit about how can you be part of the CEO venture if this is something you want to be part of. Just to be clear, you don't have to be an existing activator to apply as a venture. We are sector and age and structure agnostic. You can be a charity, a nonprofit, a for-profit, a social enterprise, or a mix of all of the above. What we ask for is that businesses are working on creating a better world through the business model and producing service or as defined by the UN Sustainable Development Goals, which we refer to as the World's To-Do List, that you are majority female, that's 51%, woman or non-binary led and owned, and you are at 50,000 annual reoccurring revenue. And we can talk a little bit more about what that means, and register as an entity from the region you're applying, which is hopefully in New Zealand, Australia. So I want to talk about that. If you are eligible and you want to apply, why you should spend your weekend on our Friday afternoon filling in this application. One of the core values here at CEO is radical generosity and abundance. There's no winner takes all mentality here. We've designed the entire process for it to be useful for you, whether you are selected or not. We want you to experience the radical generosity as part of this application process. So I know your time is really valuable. I know how hard it is for you to run a business and everything else that's going on in your life. So we're going to, and here's how we're going to make sure it's worthwhile for you to apply. Your application will be read by hundreds of women who can serve as your customers, as your advocates, as your cheerleader, as your investors. You can get connections to our activators just by applying, and everybody has a chance to get connected with you if they read your application, and you have a chance to create an ask. An ask can be anything from, do you know someone who knows SEO or accountant or bookkeeper? An ask can be like anything from, will you give me a social follow? Will you buy my product? Or ask could be can you send me a cute cat meme? If that's an ask, that's great. This is your chance to ask for whatever that it is that you need, and a chance for our community to show you the radical generosity that we all practice. That is just by applying, whether you get selected or not. And all semi-finalists who advance to the second stage will get gifted a year of activation as another sign of our radical generosity. So you can participate in our activator programming for the year. Again, if you do not get selected as a venture, these are your benefits. And if you do get selected as a venture, you have lifetime access to our community, plus world-class coaching, which I'm sure our ventures will talk about how great our coaches are, and the community all behind you, supporting you. We tell our ventures that people literally have paid money to be here to support you, and that's the community you'll be surrounded with. Show you the impact from last year. This is from New Zealand, Australia last year, that we had over 100 applicants, 130, and who received 10,000 connections. So activator would be like, I want to get connected with you, again, whether you get selected or not. There were over 370 asks that are responded to. Once again, if you don't get selected, hopefully you still get something useful out of the application process. So we really want to emphasize that your application is read by real individuals like myself and Julie and many activators who are on this call, who are here to support you as customers and advocates and have made some amazing connections. I know in Australia, there's an effort to help semi-finalists who don't get selected get funded. And we had the story last year where a venture was not selected, but connected with an activator and was able to get funded by this activator instead of by CEO. And this is all just through applying. We're not, no warm intros, no warm referral, just by applying and being an application being shared with radically generous women. I will go through this really quickly because I get this question a lot is, what is application process and how do I make my application great? So one of the things is that it's 10 simple questions, no jargon, no deck, no attachment. We just really want to know your story about your business. Don't overthink it. I know people who have 7-8 drafts of these answers, trying to create the perfect wording, which is great, but really just be yourself because there's no rubric. There's no checklist that we're looking for. We're not measuring you against anything. Every activator gets to vote with our biases, with our constraints, with whatever that we want to, because we don't tell activators how to vote. We trust the collective intelligence of our community to select our ventures. And as CEO, we have no influence and we just find out who they are based on our community's votes. So everybody who asks me like, how can I have a better application? And I always say, there's no better way. And I learned that's not really helpful as an answer. So I'm gonna give you some practical tips of what we think is actually helpful. The first one is really to tell your story. We know our activators love narratives around what is it you do, why you do it. And not just like I said, the what, like what my business is or what my product is, but really, why are you creating this? And also the how. I think both Minka and Billie Joe will share a little bit of the way they do their business is different. And the way they do their business is like very value aligned, not just the final product. Be clear and concise. We implemented word limits this year for you to really explain what you do so anybody can understand it. And lastly, the one that people struggle a lot with is this one-liner of, this is the one of the first questions, like what's your one tagline that's 160 characters or something. My advice there is to say, what is it you do and why you do it? So don't just say, I sell chocolate bars. Great. What are you trying to do with these chocolate bars? So don't just say, I'm trying to change the environment. Great, but how? So the best way to do this one sentence to capture people's attention first is to tell us exactly what you do and why you do it. All right, so I've talked a bunch about why you should apply, so I'm going to shift the focus and so you can take some time to hear from 2 of our selected ventures from last year. So please join me in welcoming our CEO Australian venture, Minka Park from Kimchi Club, and in New Zealand, Billie Joe from Bidet. Hello.
Hello. Good morning, good afternoon.
Good morning, good afternoon. Thank you so much for being here, both of you today, and taking the time to talk to us. So I'm just going to ask you a few questions about your experience CEO and as a venture. But maybe to get started, if Minka, if you want to go first, tell us a little bit more about yourself and your venture.
Okay, I am originally from South Korea. I live in Ghana country in South Australia now. So I moved away from Korea to find a better world for myself. I have been looking for better things to do, better work to do all my life. And living in South Australia, I miss, of course, a lot of Korean food and culture and Korean friends and families because I came here as an international student. And also at the same time, I found a group of migrant women in Adelaide, South Australia, and also missing a lot of Korean healthy food as well. And I had the idea of, why don't I set up a company? So I can create jobs for those women who wants to work, because it's not easy for them to get a job because of the language barrier and cultural background barrier. And myself, now I can speak fluently English, although I didn't speak the word when I moved to South Australia. So I started Kimchi Club, and we make beautiful, healthy Korean food in our commercial kitchen, like this. I'm sure pretty much some of you guys have seen this before. And then that's what we the Kimchi Club does, making all this healthy food. Now our food is discovered, delivered to Western Australia, pretty much all over South Australia, and also Victoria. And also we have so many inquiries from Sydney and Queensland. So we're moving beyond, so discovering whole Australia. And so yes, that's what Kimchi Club does. And group of migrant Korean women working together, sharing healthy Korean food with Australians, and eventually over the world, we will be able to export back to South Korea in the future, not right now. And yes, and also helping you guys healthier, and also we can create jobs, and also we are very happy to share our cultural healthy Korean food.
Yeah,
That's what Kimchi
amazing.
Club does.
Thank you, Minka. Very brave. If ever you enjoyed her story, very brave moving to a country without speaking the language and having the why of creating her venture from her cultural identity as well, and also just love kimchi and like how amazing is that? So Billie Joe, tell us a little bit more about you and bidet.
Yeah, kia ora koutou, mihi aroha kia koutou katoa. Ko Billie Joe Huhiparopiha, ahau no Ngāpuhi, te Māhurehure, te Rarawa, te Atiawa, me te Iwi Wampanoag ki Massachusetts. Yeah, so I am the CEO and founder of B-Day, which is an innovative hygiene company which we launched in 2019. And this is basically after maybe nearly 2 decades in journalism. So I kind of got into business because I did a business course, a little MBA. Yep, it was pretty challenging, but it gave me the tools, right, to feel confident and to have that kind of knowledge to get into business, which we launched our, basically it's a foam wipe that goes on toilet paper and you wipe your bum. So as you may or may not know, probably know that wet wipes and baby wipes are being flushed down the toilet and create huge problems for not only wastewater treatment plants, but also our environment because it gets pushed out into our waterways. So yeah, we are on a mission to eliminate 1 trillion wet wipes by 2025. Just a little mission. And we're super proud of what we're doing and how we're growing. And we're really, really ready to kind of take it to that next step. But I want to say how supportive and how awesome the CEO Ventures journey is, and the $100,000 basically allowed us to bring out our new product range, which is the baby wipe alternative. So there's nothing kind of like it on the market at the moment, a baby wipe alternative. So it's a beautiful 98.9% formula. We use 100% natural perfumes or essences, and we just launched that 3 weeks ago, and that was because of SheEO's funding. Winning the being one of 5 of the winners here in Aotearoa just catapulted our the awareness about our brand and our products. We sold $10,000 worth of business in 2.5 days because of that announcement. Like, it was huge for us. And so that allowed us to touch a lot more customers because we're bootstrapped, right? And most of you probably will be. And you're working to fund your businesses, right? Because the banks won't loan you any money. And mum and dad, while they will, and you'll steal their credit cards and everyone else's that you can get your hands on, it's really tough to get funding. So, you know, if you can go for it and you're ready and you can go on this journey, I definitely urge you. Otherwise, being an activator, being a part of the community is just a huge value. And you may be even teetering on whether you want to get into business. Such an awesome platform. The community calls, the activator calls just allow you to really network with women around the globe. It's awesome, and especially being in lockdown, it was just a huge. You look forward to it every week. So yeah, if you're not an activator or you are, good on you. But if you're thinking about being a venture, then do it. Absolutely do it.
Thank you. Thank you, Billie Jo. Well, first of all, congrats on launching your new product line. We are very, very excited about it. I actually remember first meeting Billie Jo in the in-person conference we had in Auckland, where you were just carrying your products around and telling people how amazing it was at a conference, which is incredible. So I think you already started answering this question a little bit, but maybe just to build off your point, can you tell us a little bit more about what being a CEO venture means to you, what kind of support you've gotten, and what's that impact have been for you and your business that you briefly touched on? And if you can speak up a little, because I think Jody said it sounded a bit faint.
Me?
Yes.
Oh, sorry about that. What does it mean? I mean, you have a global network of women, right? That you can get access to, that every week you can join calls to hear what's going on and just to touch base. Being in business is really lonely, and you kind of wear out your family and friends about talking about your awesome product and what you're up to and who you know, and you feel sad about it too, because you get rejected quite a lot, and there's a lot of things that go wrong, right? And they get tired of you. But there's this amazing network that don't get tired of you, because you're randomly put together in different groups, and you get to vent or share or even help others. And that is just, you can't even put a value on it. It's so amazing. It truly is.
Thank you. We love having you in the community as well. And Billie Jo touched a little bit earlier that the low enabled her to launch a new product that we're all very, very excited about. Minka, we'd love to ask you the same question. What has being CEO venture mean to you, and how has it helped you and your business? You're on mute.
So when I started Kimchi Club, you know, it was just myself starting everything on my own, and it wasn't easy. And because I don't have any direct family members in South Australia, but I was so lucky. I met so many amazing Korean women here in Adelaide. However, sorry, just talking about this is getting so emotional for me. And when I discovered CEO, it was totally different world, because they understand me, what I want to achieve, and they help me without any condition, no judgment. And also, if I go to the bank getting a loan, it's not easy process, but through CEO, not only money is nothing, you know, you're just getting enormous support through the coach and mentorship, and also you get to connect all over the world, not only Australia and New Zealand. So I was listening to Vicky's on her podcast. She said, "Welcome to CEO world. We've got everyone here. We've got everything we can manage and control. We can change." And in my whole life, yes, my grown-up life, I always looking for having the better world for our next generation, and it's not easy. And through CEO world, there are people who have a same value in line with you. You are not the only one who wants to change the world through your business, for your family, for our next generations. If you join CEO world, CEO community, we can do this all together. Not only doing good business for yourself, and also as we going through all together, we can make our world better. And yes, please come and join us. It's the best place to be as a women and non-binary folks. and you're not alone. And people here, we always help and support each other. And also this $100,000 or whatever money you want, you don't need to borrow the money. You can just do whatever you want. You can just get some support through mentorship, or you can get connected each other with a shared community and other venture. You don't have to borrow the money. Or if you borrow the money, you can use wisely, and it's all loan free. And it's so easy process. When I apply, my first language is Korean, not English. How hard it could be. And I was thinking, oh, okay, let's have a look at the application. And then I had a look. There are only 10 questions and very easy to fill. If you are an English speaker, it might take only like 10 minutes. Boom, boom, boom. So just apply. And after that, if you are just to be yourself when you apply, you don't need any other words. And as authenticity, that's all you need. And what you want to do, how you want to change the world through your business, that's all you need. And people who out there share your community, they can see you, what you want to do. And that's it. And then you'll get selected. And after that, it's a better vision coming up. And once you select the semifinal and the venture, when I heard that I was in the semifinal, okay, well, that's great, lucky. and after that, just another stage, that's very easy things to do too. And when I heard I was selected, I was crying whole day. And there was so much I could do in my vision, my business plan. They have changed. And now I can do all my dreams coming true through Share World. I'm so pleased. And also, as I said, whenever I talk about Share community, I get so emotional because this is the world I love to share with my next generation, my family, and my daughter. Thank you so much. I'm so sorry.
Never apologize for tears here. We are a community that believes tears in medicine, and we love you, Minka. Thank you for being here. Thank you for always showing up with your whole self. And thank you for always being so true and beautiful to who you are. And you also answered my next question. So yeah, so thank you for doing that too. Jody, I do see you have a question. I just have one more for Billie Joe, and I'll get to your question right after that. But Billie Joe, can you tell us a little bit more about your application process, and if you have any tips for all the wonderful women we have on this call around how to apply and how to stand out in your application?
I think while you can put your application in, and that's great, and I agree with Minka, it is quite easy, and I don't like forms and applications at the best of times, but it was a really easy process. It's just when you get to the next part, so around the voting, so you really want to turn up to the weekly meetings, you really want to put your voice and yourself out there about what you're about. So do the first part, but be a part of the community and let them know what you're all about, so that they can understand, or they'll remember you, right, when they go to vote. And then the next part could be a bit tricky for you, but there's always help. And SheEO will team you up with an accountant or anyone else that you may need help in. And the cool thing is you get sorted. So you may be, struggling in that area, or you may be a little bit embarrassed, right? Because some of us are more creative and not really good on the financial side. and that's okay, because then they help you clean that area up. But also if you're on zero, then it makes it super easy. But don't be afraid of those things, because they are part of business that you do have to eventually come to grips with and also face. So you might as well face it with people who really want to help and are there with no judgment, right? Just really cool, genuine, authentic people who want to help you and want to help you succeed. I mean, it's pretty awesome. You don't really get that in business, and it's a dog eat dog world, and people don't want to even tell you about all the ups and downs or how they can help. So it's kind of, yeah, CEO is very much an anomaly, but now normalizing that helping one another, which is so cool.
Amazing. Thank you. So just to, for anybody who hasn't seen that, so Billie Jo's talking about the second part, round 2 application process, where there's a financial component. This round 1 is 10 questions. It's a very easy words, 250 words times 10, like 2,500 words to describe your business and what is it you do. That is very straightforward. Minka, do you have anything else to say about the application process and any last tips for this first round?
Yes, thank you. So yeah, Shio community, Shio place is safe place, I really want to say. And all being needs is you and yourself and what you want to achieve. And that's all. And also the people here, they are amazing. They understand you. They are same in value in line with you. And it's like having another sisters, another families, and very close neighborhood. That's how I feel it. So I don't feel lonely anymore. And she mentors. It's amazing, supporting. Whenever you have some things you want to share, you just reach out to them. They will help you out and connect you, support you. Once you join Shia World, you've got everything on you. So nothing to be afraid. Thank you.
Thank you, Minka. Jody, did you still have a question? Over to you.
I've just about finished my application. A couple of things I will tweak today, thanks to this call and listening to the incredible stories. Resonates very strongly with me that the need and the value of having other women around you support you, and the notion that you're not annoying your friends and family and you've got another outlet really resonates with me. But my question is, I run an organisation called the Women's Spirit Project, and essentially it's about supporting vulnerable women to be able to access fitness, health and wellbeing programs to support their recovery journey. We have some products like merchandise, but the products that we offer are not so tangible as the products I've seen today. So, we've got, a leadership program for volunteers for women that don't normally access leadership programs, and part of the application for me is about getting the support from women from SHEO to build and identify products that have an income generation capacity to support the other work we do, which is running these free programs for vulnerable women. So I look at the products I've seen today and go, oh, we've got t-shirts and hoodies, one of them I'm wearing today, but we don't have, amazing food or cleaning products. So I think there's a concern that I'm not hitting the mark, if that makes sense. Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. And we hear that a lot, saying, hey, I'm not consumer product. Hey, I can't buy you. Can I still be a SHEO venture? And I want to say yes. We brought two founders today who have products, but we have a lot of other founders who have tech companies, who have services, who have systems change companies. And like one of the ventures similar to what you do, Jody, in UK, it's called Tech Pixies, and she's helping women re-enter the workforce and upscaling in computer science to find better jobs. So there's definitely many different types of ventures. We don't discriminate. I think what will help and what some people struggle with is how do you tell your story so people understand if it's not something that's like as graspable that you can't just pick up on the shelf. And we are here. I'm happy to help with that in my office hour. Happy to, if you send me a copy of the application, I can take a look as well. We have activators who are putting up their hand to help review applications to help you better craft your story. But 100%, you don't have to be a product. You don't have to be a service. You don't have to fit a box. If you are building something that is changing the world, that's working on the world's to-do list and the UN SDGs, we're here to support you. Thank you. I'm going to share a little bit more, just lastly around what it means to be a CEO venture, and then we'll come back to any other questions, any specific questions people have about your application. So like both Minka and Billie Jo mentioned, being a CEO venture is more than just the money. The capital is a part of it, but we actually, I think Minka mentioned some ventures didn't want to take money because they're like, I just want the coaching. I want the community. I don't need the loan, which is really interesting for us because we started as a way to fund entrepreneurs, but realizing some of our biggest value is that feeling understood, being part of the community, and being part of the sisterhood. So as being a CEO venture means you get one-on-one coaching with our amazing development guides, MJ and Lauren, who we have heard are magicians and wonderful humans who can transform any business and is super, super valuable. It is one of the probably most valuable resources we offer is that directed one-on-one coaching with them every 2 weeks for an hour. And that's something that comes as being your first year of being a CEO venture. You get a ton of customers, like Billie Jo said, in like 2 days, you'll get tons of customers buying your product. And maybe if you are B2B software, or if you are something that is not as tangible, you still get a lot of support and cheerleaders. One of the new initiatives I implemented when I joined the team is called the Venture Welcome Circle. And so it's pairing every single venture with activators who are there to support them along the journey, along the way, again, as either customers, investor, advisor, or just cheerleaders saying, you got this. There is funding, as we said, the up to $100,000 in loan, but beyond that, after that first year, you can access something called the Perpetual Fund in New Zealand, which is leftover capital that we loan out to existing ventures. We also have ways to help you if you ever wanted to do fundraising. We just had our first venture raising showcase of helping our ventures find financing through our activate community. And I'm also providing fundraising one-on-one concierge service. So anybody who's fundraising, whether you are a CEO venture or not, I'm happy to help you. I have some background investment and in venture and providing all the services around how to do your deck, how to do your pitch, how to find value line investors, how to introducing you to the network, things like that. And so the network's absolutely amazing. It's a global network. For anybody who's exporting, you will always have CEO ventures and activators in different countries they can talk to. And that's something that's been really useful for our ventures, is to find people who are in a similar state, and say, hey, this person is great. You talk to this person in ZTE versus this person versus this is what the supplier that I use that was great. So a lot of sharing context of that. And I think a very special benefit is that you get an amazing team in HQ, including Finn and myself and MJ and Lauren forming the Venture Pod, who is here to all commit to your success on your terms. Our activator doesn't get as cool of a team, so this is a very special benefit to being a CEO venture. I'm going to talk quickly about timeline. I'm not going to get into too much details. So this is the first round of applications, and where we encourage anyone and everyone to apply. Once all applications are done, we will have validators go through the process, and then we will put it to our community for a vote. In this first round, all they're voting for is should this venture move on to the semifinalists. Then we will have about 10 to 15, depending on the numbers and country, semifinalists who will do round 2 application. This is where the financial documents come in that Billie Jo is referring to, that we will help you through and create a 1-minute video. At that point, our activators will vote again for up to 5 ventures they think that should get the funding. And then we will call our selected ventures, and they will all attend a retreat, hopefully in person this year after 2 years of doing this online, and then announce at a summit. And then that's when you start your onboarding experience, which is a 3-month process that is curated to bring you into the community, understand your capital needs, and help you disperse the loan. And the last I'll just end with to say that this is all on your own terms. No strings attached, no equity, no mandatory goals, no saying your growth rate or revenue targets has to be this, and if you don't hit it, you don't get the loan. on your own terms, participate in your capacity. We say to an activator, there's no bad way to be an activator. If you want to just give us money and never hear from us again, great. If you want to come to all our events, which is like almost a full-time job, that's great too. Participate in your capacity and never feel guilty about what you cannot deliver, which I think, again, makes this very, very special. So we're going to open up to general Q&A about anything. So I'm going to stop screen sharing and open it back up to Q&A. Where the retreat will be and whether those dates will change at all. Finn, do you want to take this one?
Yes, I was just answering this in the chat. So how do spotlight? No, but I want Susie there too. I love Zoom. Okay, so at this moment, the dates will not change. The only thing that we have to determine, which is based on pandemic and COVID safety, is in person or not. But right now, it like a yes, we can have it in person, which is super exciting.
Yes, so I would just say it is the desire to have this in person, but not a firm commitment. Option like a hybrid. Hybrids in discussion. I think, as you may have noticed, it's really hard to predict the world in the last 2 years. So we will do as much planning as possible. I know there's been a desire to do in person, and our HQ team's mostly based in North America as well. So we all have to figure out what the best solution is. So I think we'll just say it's hard to fully predict that there's a desire for it to be in person. Hi,
You have
Chelsea.
a question?
Hello. Firstly, thank you so much. The energy and the stories and the impact that SheEO has had is just so inspirational. So just being on this call in itself has been a gift. I've got a fairly just a logistical question about the application. Is it okay to put 2 key contacts, so a primary and a secondary? Okay. Yeah, great. Thank you.
Easy question. Thank you. Carmel.
Hello. Thank you so much for the opportunity to do this call so late in the process too. I really appreciate it because it's been sitting kind of on my radar and it just really prompted to lean right back into the process. So thank you. I just have a question on the application where you're asking about how much money has been raised from other sources. And what is it you're kind of interested to understand about that question?
Yeah, so when someone asked me this question yesterday, and there's like, do I need to go back 8 years for all my financials? And what exactly? I think the general understanding is understanding how you fund it. So whether that be equity funded, bootstrapped, part is to understand how many investors you have, how much debt you have, and just like has a general understanding of the way your business is funded. I think that affects the ability to pay a loan, that affects the ability, what type of capital you can be entitled to. But if you don't have the exact number, you don't need decimal points, you can do percentages as well. So just generally understanding of the funding structure of your business. Make sense?
Yeah, it totally makes sense. I mean, part of my wanting to be part of this process is actually helping me change my money narrative in terms of that recognition of good debt. So I actually have a very, very minimal funding from other sources because I always wanted to prioritize that independence and viability from the start. So yeah, I'm really excited to apply. Thank you.
I have so much to say about the meaning of capital, but we can save that for a different conversation. That's some of the other work I do on the team is talk about finance and capital all day long. Any other questions?
Can I ask a question? I think you were going to say more about what recurring revenue means, because like we have revenue, but like we're not a subscription company, so it's not the same every month.
Yes. So we were talking about this yesterday, the difference,
Yeah.
the recurring versus reoccurring revenue. So basically what we mean is you don't have to be a SaaS company with MAR or MRR. It just means that this is a revenue you can make again. So what does not qualify is grants,
Right.
for example. But if you had consulting fees or anything that you can show that it's possible to be created again. That's the revenue we're thinking, but not necessarily like AR, MR in the SaaS.
Yeah, sure. Thanks. Thank you for that. I just wanted to check that. And with the measuring the impact question around the Sustainable Development Goals, like I find this a really tricky thing to measure impact, and what more could I be saying about that to represent what I do better?
We know measure impact is one of the hardest things to do. And there's lots of science around it, and we don't expect beautiful impact reports of all these stats. I think what we want to understand is how are you working towards these goals, and how do you think about the outcomes that you want to create? So the business yesterday was saying they were employing people in Bangladesh. So how does that create economies for women in Bangladesh? How does that help their families? So just really understanding, one, saying what the goal is, but then with that goal, how are you contributing to it, and how do you know you're making progress and impact? But we don't necessarily expect full on like impact reporting, just really understanding for you and for us around,
particularly in an early stage of technology.
Exactly. And things can change, and we know things change all the time, but it's for us to understand, here's the goal you picked and how are you working towards it.
Thank you. Yeah. And my last question was, how many ventures go through each stage?
So 5 will be selected at the end of the process in Australia and New Zealand. Different countries, different amounts depending on number of activators and funding sources. The semifinalists normally around 10, but some people drop out, some people don't qualify, some people decide to do something else or cannot make a date or things like that. So 10 to 15. But Finn, do you want to verify that number?
Yeah, so basically what Susie said in terms of around 10 and then goes down for selection, it's 5 per region. So in the end of this, it would be 5 Australian ventures and 5 New Zealand ventures. And then, yeah.
All right, thank you.
All right. Julie just mentioned there was 15 to 18 last year. So it's not a hard number of semifinalists. The finalists, that 5 is the hard number.
And the semifinalists is you get to be part of the community for a year, you were saying.
Right. You get part of the community, and then you get to be part of the final vote, basically.
Sure. Thank you.
All right. Thank you. Any other questions? Let me put on some Disney music while we wait. I'm just gonna share my screen one last time to say it's not too late. We have Carmel brought this up that we have many ventures who started their application on the last day, the last night, the last hour, and were selected. So it is not too late. I am hosting office hours after this. If you need accountability, if you just want better Disney music, if you want pep talks, if you want cat memes, happy to provide all of that. Not an actual cat, Finn has the actual cat, but like happy to provide memes at my office hour. If you just want to chill and work on the application together or anything, come hang out. You still have the whole weekend ahead of you. We did extend it to accommodate any people's schedule. But as the venture said, it's not too late because it's a very simple process. It can take you maybe not 10 minutes, Minka, maybe an hour is what we've heard people do, sometimes 30 minutes, depending on how fast you type. But it's a fairly straightforward process. It's not too late. So even if you hear anybody else say it, you can start on the last day and still get selected. And I'm just gonna leave you with this. So what would you create if you know that you were surrounded by radically generous women, non-binary folks? Anything is possible. Thank you all for joining me. I'm just gonna be staying around again, saying with the music, with some cat memes and anything else. So feel free to leave, feel free to work on your application, and feel free to stay. But thank you all so much for joining me today, and have a wonderful weekend.
Thank you. Have a wonderful
Thank
weekend.
you so much.
Congratulations on finishing these series. I'm sure that's a big milestone for the team.
Thank you. Yes, thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Love your work, Susie. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thanks for your help. Bye.
Bye.